Church, today we move into the book of Proverbs, a book mostly written by Solomon, and we start today in chapter 3. He's just given some great wisdom, writing to the Israelites here, giving some great wisdom about what it looks like to trust and to serve God. Three things I kind of want us to take away from this chapter today as we begin. The first one is, how do we gain favor with God and with man, and how do we have a good name with God and with man? Well, Solomon lays it out pretty precisely for us. He says, let love and faithfulness never leave you. So the way in which we love and the way in which we are faithful in our relationships to people determines what our name looks like, what our reputation looks like to others, and most importantly to God. And so God is concerned with the way in which we love and are faithful to others and to Him. The second thing is probably one of those verses that you remember forever in your life. Verse 5 and 6, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. That's a great, we could stop right there, and that would be enough, because we realize quickly that our understanding is not enough. We think we know it all so many times, but God's ways are higher and greater than our ways. So He's saying, trust in the Lord with all your heart. Don't lean on your own understanding, but in all your ways, the way I learned it, in all your ways, acknowledge Him. Acknowledge Him. That's from the King James or American Standard. The NIV here says, in all your ways, submit to Him. What does that word acknowledge mean there? It's not like you would just acknowledge someone walking down the road with a little head nod or wave, like, hey, I see you there, and yep, I acknowledge that they're here. No, this word actually means to know Him, to fully submit to Him, to be obedient to His ways in our life. And it's fitting because it says, in all your ways submit to Him, and what happens? He makes our path straight. Well, what does that mean, and why would our paths be straight? Because certainly we know that as being a Christian, it doesn't mean that all of a sudden we have this perfect, no problem filled life. No, but what it means is when we're in tune with Him, when we are seeking Him, when we're obedient to Him and His way and His will for our life, then this path that He's laid out becomes clear so that we can accomplish what He's laid out for us to do for His namesake and His glory. So trusting Him. Which leads me to the last thing for us today, which is a topic that often in church many don't want to talk about, which is tithing, trusting God with our finances. I want to share this story. This may seem funny to you or trivial, but it meant a lot to me at the time. When I was in college, I was working a part-time job, and I making very little money, just some extra money in college. And I remember getting a paycheck and thinking about, I really don't have hardly any money in my bank account right now, nothing like that, but I know, I've been told through Scripture to tithe what I get. And so I made, at the time, which was a really hard decision, and tithed off this very small paycheck, but it was going to affect me. And I remember, if my memory serves me, it was the very next day. I went to my mailbox there at the school, and I opened the mailbox, and I received an envelope with a check in it from someone in the church that I grew up in who had never sent me any check, any card, anything like that before. And she just said she wanted to bless me as a college student. And there was a check, and I could not believe it. Now, I'm not saying that we tithe and the next day every time you go and to the mailbox and you get a check. No, but God's promise here is that when we honor Him with our first fruit, with our tithes, with our offerings, with our wealth, then He says, your barns will be filled to overflowing, and your vats will brim over with new wine. Well, Christian, can I tell you today that that's a promise from the Lord? If we trust God with our finances and acknowledge, first of all, they come from Him anyway, then we tithe, we offer offerings to Him, and in return, He blesses us in ways that we can never even imagine. What a beautiful promise from the Lord. And so today, my prayer is that you take these verses and marinate on them a little bit and just think about in your own life, like, hey, what does my name look like to God and to others? Am I someone that when someone sees me, they see love and faithfulness? Am I trusting God in everything, in all my ways? Am I submitting to Him? Am I knowing that He is in control and being obedient to Him? And maybe the hardest one For some, am I being obedient and trusting Him with finances today? Maybe you just need to spend some time in prayer and ask God for help in any of those. Say, God, help me to trust you more today, believing in your promises that you will provide and that you will make clear the path ahead of me if I trust you and acknowledge you in everything that I do. Have a great day.